for centuries, certain books were passed around in secret. And they weren't just dusty old artifacts. They were something way more exciting: practical guidebooks, manuals that promised to unlock the hidden powers of the universe, and more importantly, the powers of your own mind. And they all started with a very specific, very bold promise. So get this quote from a 19th century manual by an author called Ciferail. He's not just writing a history book. He's basically saying, listen up, by the time you finish this, you will have absolutely no excuse for not knowing about the powers lying dormant inside you. You see, these books weren't meant to sit on a shelf. They were meant to be used. These manuals, they really map out a kind of journey for the initiate, a path from total ignorance to real understanding to adeptship. So the real question is, are you ready to see what they taught, to take those first few steps down the path with us? All right, so where does this journey begin? Well, it's probably not where you'd think. It doesn't start with a spooky spell or some complex incantation. The very first lesson is all about learning to see the world in a completely new way. Here's the foundational principle: what occultism is really all about. It's the idea that the cosmos isn't just random chaos. It's an intelligent, deeply interconnected system. One alchemist back in the 17th century called it a certain chain that links the visible world to the invisible one. So, your first step as a student, you have to learn the grammar of this cosmic language. So if the universe is a language, how on earth do you learn to read it? Well, the first key these manuals give the student is astrology. And we're not talking about your daily horoscope here. This is presented as the complex, serious art of reading the hidden influences that shape our world and even ourselves. And this is where it gets really practical. You can actually see the mechanics of it. This table, taken straight from a manual of occultism, shows that planets aren't just lonely dots of light. They have relationships, they have sympathies, they have antipathies. You can see Saturn is aligned with Mars, while Jupiter is in harmony with the Moon and Venus. It's a whole web of forces, a cosmic network that you can actually map out and understand. This really drives home that these books were intended as how-to guides. They give you step-by-step instructions. Casting a horoscope is treated like a technical skill. Establish the houses, set the time using Greenwich Mean Time, because that's what the tables use, and then calculate and insert the planets. It's so methodical, almost like you're following a scientific procedure. Okay, so after you've learned to read the outer world, the macrocosm, the manuals tell the initiate to turn their attention inward, to the microcosm of the self. And the goal here is to awaken an entirely new set of senses. The texts call these the astral senses, and the idea is pretty wild. Just like we have 5 physical senses to see and touch the physical world, we have this latent set of psychic senses, and they're connected to a more subtle or astral body. These senses, they perceive a totally different reality, the astral plane, that exists right alongside our own. And what's really fascinating is that there isn't just one way to use these new senses. The manuals actually distinguish between 2 types of clairvoyant. First, you've got the positive seer. This is the active one, the one who projects their vision inward, who goes searching through the soul world. But then you have the passive seer, who just opens up and receives whatever information comes their way. 2 totally different approaches to tapping into the same hidden stream of knowledge. And believe me, these books are not just dry, abstract theory. They are filled with these vivid, first-hand accounts that are just wow. This one describes a successful experiment in what we would probably call astral projection today. The author literally wills himself to appear in a house far away, and sure enough, the people there see his apparition. It's presented as a real, tangible result of mastering these inner senses. And this is where the journey really escalates. Because it's no longer just about passively seeing the unseen world. Now it's about actively influencing it. This is where the manuals introduce the student to the world of ceremonial magic. The practice of magic, as it's laid out in the old grimoires, which are basically magic textbooks, required a very specific and, let's be honest, pretty bizarre toolkit. You needed a knife with a white handle for some jobs, one with a black handle for others, a hook, a sickle, a sword. Every single instrument had a precise function and had to be consecrated in just the right way. And the language you used was just as important as the tools. This is an actual conjuration for consecrating a magical instrument. Listen to the tone. It's commanding, it's authoritative. The magician isn't begging for power, they are directing it. charging the object with virtue through the sheer force of their will and their words. Look at how incredibly methodical this process is. To create a talisman or a talisma, to draw down Jupiter's influence, you had to follow a strict formula. Wait for the exact astrological timing, choose the right material, like tin or silver, engrave a very specific magical square, add the names of the ruling spirits. It's presented as this precise craft that combines astrology, symbolism, and ritual all into one action. So you've got the astrology, the clairvoyance, the rituals. But what's the end game here? What's the point of all of this? Well, according to these texts, it's not about gaining power just for the sake of it. It's about arriving at this profound, philosophical insight into the very nature of reality itself. This quote right here from that 17th century alchemist Thomas Vaughan gets us right to the heart of it. He talks about a certain spirit that weaves itself through all of matter, that animates everything from the inside out. It's this idea of a universal, intelligent life force that is just everywhere, in everything. And that leads to the ultimate revelation of the whole path. The split we think exists between the spiritual world and the material world, it's an illusion. There is no hard line dividing the sacred and the profane. It's all one continuous, deeply unified reality. Vaughan calls it a certain chain that connects the visible and the invisible. This is the great chain of being. It's like this invisible cord that links the highest divine principles all the way down to the lowest forms of matter. Everything is connected, and energy and influence can flow up and down this chain. And this is it. This is the final lesson. The big takeaway. If everything is part of this chain, then you are just a link in the chain. You are the entire chain, in miniature. You are a microcosm containing all the different parts of the universe right inside yourself. The earthly, the celestial, and right at the center of it all, that divine spirit that animates the whole show. So, in the end, the whole journey just turns right back on itself. The true secret wasn't some formula in a dusty book. It was the realization that the seeker already has the entire cosmos inside of them. These hidden manuals were ultimately guides to self-discovery. Which, of course, leaves us with one final big thought. If we are all microcosms of the universe, what incredible powers might still be lying dormant inside of us?